History remembers kings and conquests, revolutions and rebellions. But behind every era, every turning point, and every leap forward, there was an idea. Behind that idea, a person. Today, we journey into the past to uncover the real inventors, the overlooked thinkers, and the minds that sparked change across centuries, and shine a light on the individuals whose innovations shaped civilization. Sometimes celebrated, sometimes forgotten, and often misunderstood. Who truly invented the printing press? Was it Gutenberg, or was it someone else lost to time? Who first harnessed electricity, or imagined flight, or dreamed of a machine that could think? This episode isn't just a podcast about objects. It's about people, visionaries who challenge the world around them, often in obscurity, sometimes in defiance, and always with one foot planted firmly in the future. So whether you're a student of history, a lover of invention, or just someone who's ever wondered, wait, who came up with that? You're in the right place. But here's the twist. Invention isn't always a lightning bolt from the sky. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's stolen, and sometimes it's not even clear who really did it first.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, everyone.
Stoney had some stuff happen again. Everything's all good. Everything's fine. But we're
forging on without him with this episode.
A little dynamic duo.
Yeah, it's back to the way it was. So it's so funny. There for a while, it was just you and Stoney.
I know.
And it's just sometimes it just works out that way. Life throws us different things that we just got to deal with. And
it's the summertime, so it's all good. I'm taking some time off in the end of July, so we're gonna probably try and timing of episodes are gonna be a bit so it's all good. But,
we'll be fine. I mean, I'm set. I'm getting ready to go on vacation. I'll be matter of fact, when this podcast drops,
yes.
I will be in Glacier, Montana.
Okay, I'm excited for you because I've never been to Montana, but I've been told.
Well, you've lived in Canada.
I know.
So it's kind of similar.
I love the mountains. I love the trees. I love the wilderness, and I've been told by many people that I would love to go. I would have a great time in Montana. So
I've been there back in 2021, but had a great time. Beautiful country. We're going to be staying at the same lodge I stayed at then.
Nice.
And so we're excited, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully this storm out in the Gulf does not interfere delay. Or I've most of my group is actually flying out of New Orleans.
Really?
It's just my girlfriend and I are flying out of Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So I'm more worried about them than us. But hopefully nothing happens. And
anything for cheaper airfare.
I guess. They all talked about flying out of New Orleans. I was like, I mean, if it was a direct flight, I would say, okay, it would be worth it. But since we're all still having to connect in Dallas and then jump on the same plane from Dallas to Kalispell, well, it's just what it is. But we have an interesting episode today. This actually episode was suggested to me by my girlfriend Tracy.
Love it.
About who invented some of these things that we take for granted in our everyday life, and It's pretty interesting. I never think about think about who invented the toothbrush.
Oh, right.
Or toilet paper or something along those
so
lines.
Simple, yeah.
That was like, good Lord, what did people do before these things? How did how did we function? But obviously people did, and there was somebody out there that recognized the need, and the noggin started kind of working. It's like, how can I possibly create something to help in this regard? And it's amazing how ideas people come up with. You're confronted with a situation that everyday life that you deal with, and it's like there's certain people that just all of a sudden go,
I feel
there's going to be something that maybe we can do something to kind of help with this. Right. So, but yeah, so it's,
there's the obvious ones, the people that I feel like everyone knows about already, the Thomas Edisons, the Alexander Graham Bell, but I'm always curious about, and I feel like this show specifically would be remiss if we didn't mention Nikola Tesla. I feel like we got a soft spot for Nikola.
Good old Tesla.
We got a soft spot for Nikola Tesla here. I feel like, but those are all the big names. I feel like everyone knows, and sometimes I feel like there's also certain people that go unnoticed, or are they the actual ones that invented the thing, or was it somebody else? And claims that circulate around.
Well, I mean, like, speaking of, electricity and stuff like that, Edison, I mean, he's the one typically known to, as when it comes to the light bulb and all that.
Right.
Because he basically perfected and commercialized the incandescent bulb in 1879. But the story actually goes back decades before. Actually, in 1802, Humphrey Davy, a British chemist, created the first electric light, an arc lamp using a piece of carbon. And then in the 1840s, Warren de la Rue, a British scientist, enclosed a platinum coil in a vacuum tube, very close to a working bulb. So,
I've heard a lot of things about Thomas Edison and how he was he would like take people's inventions and patent them as his own. I've heard a lot of mean things about Thomas Edison, about him not being a very great person,
if you really probably were around these people when they lived.
Right.
I mean, they're human beings with all the same vices as everybody else, and they are products of their time in which they were living. So, this is a time when, industrialization and new inventions, and, so I'm sure he's pretty ruthless.
Right.
In some of this stuff. But actually, in 1874, 5 years before Edison, two Canadian inventors, Henry Woodward and Matthew Evans, actually patented an electric lamp. They eventually sold the patent to none other than Thomas Edison.
See, there you go.
So Edison was very astute and was able to recognize, hey, this is probably going to be a big thing. Let me jump on this. So I'll give him credit as he recognized something and applied his skill set to make it happen. I mean, so
right.
You can say what you want about him, but I mean, he's the one who brought the energy and to everything to make it happen.
I'm not sure if you have stumbled across this name, but I wanted to talk about one that is potentially not known or not well known at all. Is Mary Anderson, who invented like the first windshield wiper.
Yes, I saw that.
And also it was like she invented it before cars were like widespread, and apparently had never really made a dime for it because it was never commercially available. So it says that she was an Alabama woman who patented the early version of one such overlooked item, and it was the windshield wiper. And I was really interested to hear about that. And it says that though her like particular model was never like put into commercial production, it says that that her invention like helped like make that kind of product like a regular thing. So.
Yeah, in 1903.
Exactly.
She was visiting New York City during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And she noticed streetcar drivers struggling to see through their windshields, and she imagined a spring-loaded arm with a rubber blade that could be operated from inside the vehicle.
It's crazy how we use something like that all the time.
She patented her device, but at the time, manufacturers rejected her idea.
Crazy.
They believed drivers would find the wiper distracting. There's probably a lot of truth to that.
Maybe, but I mean...
And it said 2 decades later, windshield wipers became standard, but Anderson never saw a dime.
Crazy.
Just a reminder that being first doesn't always mean being rewarded.
Yes. And that's the hard part about some of that stuff, is that sometimes being the first person to invent a product or to like make a thing, especially if you like perfect it and have like many iterations of it, I think you can be like the first is the best. I feel like sometimes in some applications, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, especially if either getting taken advantage of or you sell your patent to somebody else. But that's interesting to think about.
Let's look at the telephone.
Okay. I know there's some speculation.
Everybody associates a telephone with Alexander Graham Bell.
Right.
In fact, he patented that, he did all that in 1876. But there's always a bit of a backstory to this stuff.
Right.
And as I said, nothing's really ever clean. They said an Italian inventor named Antonio Mucci, if I'm pronouncing that right, Mucci developed a voice communication device in the early 1850s and even demonstrated it publicly. Unfortunately, he was unable to afford the final patent paperwork.
Yeah.
And so he really never got credited for it. But the U.S. Congress actually acknowledged his contributions in 2002, 126 years later.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The one I had heard was there was a potential like patent race between Alexander Graham Bell and Alicia Gray.
Yeah, now Alicia
like
Gray
back and forth. Yeah, it was like some sort of big thing that was.
Yeah, I have I have the same thing here. She submitted a patent for a similar device on the same day as Bell. Bell beat him by just a few hours. Some historians suspect Bell had inside knowledge of Gray's design, but officially the credit still belongs to Bell. So as I said, not all clean.
Yeah.
But who knows?
People being people.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about, how you're a couple hours from like being known throughout history. That's crazy.
Of course, at the time, they don't know what's going to happen. They probably just recognize, hey, this is a neat device, man. This could help, be able to try to communicate over long distances with people. And
I feel like in the 1800s / early 1900s, it was like there was a lot of that kind of stuff where like being an inventor was like a thing. Not to say that there's not something like that now, but like I feel like that was before that, being an inventor, I guess, was not really like a thing, or like a patent holder, I guess, because that was such like a new concept, I think, or this is what it seems like. So to have like people just run around creating things.
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This was an age of discovery. I mean, the 1850s, kind of 1900, that 50 years was
crazy.
Just a lot of things happening at that time. It was a time of transition, and there was just a lot of movement on that front when it came to, starting to kind of harness the physical world and making things a lot easier for us. So,
yeah.
I've got another one here.
Okay.
Who invented the ice cream cone?
Okay. I don't even know where to begin. When was it? Was that 1800s?
Yeah, they said most point to the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, where a Syrian concessionaire named Ernest Hamway, selling zalabia, a crisp waffle pastry, saw that an ice cream vendor nearby and had run out of dishes.
Stop.
So the ice cream vendor had run out of dishes. He rolled his waffle into a cone and handed it over.
Wow.
Creating the first modern ice cream cone, or so the story goes.
Right.
But, once again, here's the kind of the
Yes.
but Italo Marchioni, an Italian immigrant in New York, had actually patented the cone-shaped ice cream mold 3 years earlier in 1901. So, the question is, then who invented the cone?
Right.
Hamwi popularized it, but Mahoney may have done it first. It's another case of invention versus mass recognition.
Yes.
A theme you'll notice over and over in a lot of this
Dude, the idea of the World's Fair is such an interesting...
I went to a World's Fair in New Orleans in 1984.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they still had those.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, especially the ones that we're talking about, like in the 18 to early 1900s or whatever, like that's
where the gondola across the Mississippi River came from.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you can catch the gondola and go across the river.
Right. And it was
because of the World's Fair.
Dude, that's
it was
crazy.
built because of the world. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be awarded the World's Fair, you've got to. There's a lot of prep. It's like prepping for the Olympics. A city would need do a lot of things to prep for it because it's World Fair. It's everybody in the world.
Right. What is the big one that I'm thinking of? Wasn't there one that was like in Chicago or something? Or was
that was the Chicago World's Fair.
Well, I think there's one in particular I'm thinking of that was like a really, or I guess it was the one that never happened or something. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. But it's crazy to think that like you said, like the Olympics, you go there and there's all these inventions, all these new things.
That's right.
That's crazy.
And that's where a lot of that stuff you'll see is at World Fair.
Oh, yeah.
So some other items here. I thought this was interesting. The safety pin.
Okay.
A guy by the name of Walter Hunt in 1849 from the United States. He created it in just 3 hours to settle a $15 debt.
Stop.
And sold the patent for $400.
Okay.
So
safety pin.
A safety pin. So you can imagine how much money that would be worth.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Sold it for $400.
Something so simple.
So simple.
I also wonder, it's that kind of stuff like paper clips as well. Like that stuff that's so ubiquitous that I feel like, man, that's crazy.
The paper clip.
Yeah.
Johan Valler.
Okay.
In 1899, he's from Norway. He said similar designs existed before him, but Valar is often recognized because of Norway's promotion of his design in the 20th century.
Wow. I was looking into a person named Garrett Morgan who did the three-way traffic light.
Oh, what was that about?
It says Garrett Morgan invented the three-way traffic light, and it was it include I think in the original one it said like caution or like warning signals, essentially like a precursor to like what the yellow light is. And I think instead of it being just like a green and a red, he was the one who kind of made like the
yellow.
Yeah. A three-way light. And it was basically to obviously to improve road safety and provide a warning.
If you can imagine, I mean, if you just have a red and green.
Right, which is what it was.
And so you're driving, it's green, all of a sudden it turns red, and you're right. Some sort of disaster that would.
It says that it was he did it with the intention to improve road safety by providing a warning and all that kind of stuff, instead of coming to a complete stop. And it said it reduced. I don't have numbers on it, but it said it reduced accidents by a severe margin. And he received a patent for his 3-position traffic light in 1923. So it's crazy that that's again, something that you take for granted, the yellow light, or people get upset about, I think a lot of times. But to think that, like you said, going from green to complete red and you're in the middle of the intersection is a scary thought for me, at least. So.
Just a few little items that we all take for granted. The ballpoint pen.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard about this one.
Invented by Laszlo Biro, Biro, or I don't know how that's pronounced. 1938, Argentina, Hungary. The pen it's actually still called a biro in many countries.
Okay.
BIRO is the the name. So it's named after its supposed inventor.
Nice.
Um,
that's really
the
interesting.
toothbrush.
Oh my gosh.
Invented by DuPont de Nemours Company, 1938, United States. They said the earliest toothbrushes actually date back to 1498 in China, using pig bristles.
Excuse me?
Using pig bristles. So I guess the little hairs on the pig.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of nasty to think about, but hey, maybe there's
I mean, people were probably pretty nasty back.
It's probably better than not brushing your teeth at all.
Well,
so
I mean, I guess the idea people were trying to figure out why their teeth were falling out, and they had to figure out some means of trying to clean your mouth. God, can you imagine how breath probably smell bad?
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I think I didn't look this up, but just talking about smell is, I don't know who invented or who came up with the idea of deodorant, but that's got to be a interesting thing to think about, of something that I feel like I take for granted.
Yeah, it basically was using animal bone handles and
interesting. Okay. Which, I mean,
and they say sense. Nylon, and it's like, why nylon? It's DuPont scientists invented nylon, and someone realized it could be used to make more hygienic, consistent toothbrush bristles.
Interesting.
Launching the Dr. West's Miracle Toothbrush.
Wow. Didn't DuPont also make what's the pan? The stuff they use in making cookware? Teflon?
It may be. I don't know. Maybe you can look it up.
Yeah, you're right. Let me look that up really quick, because I'm not mistaken. I think DuPont also did Teflon, and I think that was a big Teflon, not Teflon. My bad. Right. Yeah. Teflon is a brand of synthetic fluoropolymer called polytetrafluoroethylene. I don't even pronounce that right. Invented by DuPont in 1938. I think there was some chemical stuff that came out about that, where it was not actually very healthy, but I think they have since fixed a lot of that. But Teflon, yeah.
Okay, here's another one that we all use.
Okay.
The toilet paper roll. The flat sheet version was invented by a guy by the name of Joseph Gaiety in 1857. You can attribute it to the United States.
1857 is actually older than I thought it would. I thought that was going to be more modern than that.
Well, I imagine it's a very early version of what that looked like. They say roll and perforation format patented by Seth Wheeler in 1871.
Still, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
What's people would say, what's the difference? Why did it matter? It says, before toilet paper, people used whatever was handy. Sears catalogs, corn cobs,
leaves,
you name it, leaves. Yep. Gaiety marketed his paper as medicated and soothing.
Really?
Printed with his name on every sheet. Yeah.
Something to be proud of.
It said, yeah, he goes, the real genius was the roll format and the perforations, where, it kind of looks like toilet paper today. So,
modern day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing when some of this stuff, I can only imagine what people use their hand.
I mean, maybe, but.
I mean, if you didn't have anything by you, use your hand.
I can't
imagine. You'd have to wash your hands somehow. Right. Just go to a well or something that and just.
That's crazy that,
that's just how it was.
Different times.
It's, I'm saying, it's that'd be a good episode. Early sanitation practices. That would be probably a great podcast episode.
Man, the more you think about it, I feel like modern plumbing is something I feel like I take for granted a lot of.
Oh yeah,
especially just running water.
Well,
obviously,
that
is a big
goes all
thing.
the way back. I mean, if you think about modern plumbing, I mean, the origins of that really go back. I mean, really, the Romans.
Oh, right.
With the idea of the aqueducts and moving water. I mean, and they would dump their waste, and the water would take the waste out of town, and that's why you didn't have the disease, and that's why. So when you see the breakdown of kind of those things, and you kind of get into the more of the dark ages of Europe after the fall of the Western Roman Empire,
Right.
you see, kind of people kind of revert back to a more primitive version, and you just you can imagine what sort of diseases would outbreak if people just dumping their waste out in the street, and that's a lot where it dump, along with all the horses and everything else that are walking. So and you could see the flies and mosquitoes and everything else while people got so sick.
Oh, right. I mean, that's the whole reason with like rats and all that kind of stuff too. Crazy.
Another big one here, it's a zipper.
The zipper. Okay.
Yeah, Whitcomb Judson in 1893, the clasp locker. Mm-hmm. The modern design was perfected by Gideon Sunback in 1913.
Wow, what a name.
Yeah, Judson's early design was basically unreliable and clunky, and Sunback, a Swedish-American engineer, improved the interlocking teeth system, creating something that worked smoothly and held firmly. And it was first used, its big use was in World War One.
Oh, yeah.
Boots, flying suits, and money belts.
Wow.
So now here's one that you and I both hold very dear.
What's that?
The coffee filter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man, a coffee filter?
Melita Benz in 1908 in Germany. Okay, what was going on? The coffee grinds in your cup, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's, if their filter kind of fails and they like, oh, there's grinds.
Or old-timey percolators.
Right,
all that kind of stuff.
In the,
yeah.
So what happened was this person, she punched holes in a brass pot and lined it with her son's blotting paper.
What?
And it worked.
Yeah.
She goes, she patented the filter and founded the Melita Company, still thriving today.
Oh, yeah. I know Melita filters.
So
that's interesting.
And she goes, her invention made coffee smoother, less bitter, and much more pleasant, changing coffee culture forever. So, yeah, everybody out there just...
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have Melita coffee filters in my cabinet right
now. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
For my pour-overs, there's like a natural paper, like a natural brown paper that I've used as like my filter. And, so that's interesting.
I have a Techno Varma coffee pot at my house.
This is not really, it's a little deviating a little bit. I was watching a video recently about like the first Mr. Coffee pot, like the actual like glass, old time. I say old time, like I think it was first released in like the 70s or the 80s of like that old design of like it even has like the color scheme and like it has such an interesting like actual like method in which it works. It's like a piece of metal that like bends when it heats, which is like what keeps like the regulation of the water.
Right.
Anyways, it was crazy to look at that and how I was like, man, how coffee technology has.
The only thing I really don't
changed.
have, I have a little small coffee grinder.
Right.
I would like something a little bit more larger.
Yeah.
That way I can kind of store my grinds.
Mm-hmm. There's some great options out there.
Oh, I know.
But that's
plenty.
That's another conversation for a different episode. Because you and I could I could talk about that for
forever on that.
Anyway, Stoney's not here to keep us in line.
Yeah, exactly. Stoney be like saying, okay, guys. Y'all need to get back on topic, guys. So, some more things here. Bar soap.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so actually there is no single inventor of this, at least, from what I've been able to find.
Okay.
They say soap making dates back to Babylon, which is 2800, before the Common Era, or BC.
Right.
Modern bar soap mass production starts really in the early 1800s. Brands like Pears Soap in England began marketing it as a luxury and hygiene product, not just for laundry.
Okay.
Interesting. And then they had it was a chemistry breakthrough and discovery how to isolate fats and lye made soap easier and cheaper to produce at scale, bringing cleanliness into the modern home. So it's amazing that at one time soap would have been considered a luxury item to have. So
and also like wasn't like didn't they use like straight lye a lot of times? Like even though it's I know like I think it's toxic, they would still like use like small amounts of that. That's crazy to think about. One that I have that's kind of funny here. It's more of a modern person, but I thought it was an interesting one to throw in here.
Yeah,
is the name Lonnie Johnson. She was, or I think it's a she. Let me see. Was a NASA inventor, a NASA engineer turned toy inventor, and they made the Super Soaker, the like big water gun that we all. I feel like
everybody's had.
At least in my generation, I feel like everyone had a Super Soaker, and I was like, that's crazy that like a NASA engineer.
We had yard darts.
Oh, there you go.
Stabbed you.
Yeah,
we actually did the real thing. We shot each other with real BB guns.
Oh yeah, hey,
shows you how stupid we were.
Oh my god, mine was airsoft. My friends and I had airsoft BB guns. We would shoot with each other. So. Yeah. A little less dangerous, but still just as stupid, I feel like.
Yeah, it's amazing how the stuff we did with each other back then. I mean, it was just...
I mean, I used to have this is going to show you just how kind of backwoods I was once upon a time. I used to have cinder blocks and big, like 2x6s or whatever that I used to like prop up and have like a bike ramp that I would make. And so like I would like jump over dirt hills with, like my bicycle. So like my friends and I would have all kinds of dumb stuff that we used to get hurt and, just a bunch of boys being
of course boys. You got to find a way to entertain yourself.
Roughhousing outside. Yeah. Well, we were told, at least we were told to go play outside until the street lights come on. So we had to do something, but yeah.
I've got another one here. The clothes hanger.
Okay.
The inventor is Albert J. Parkhouse, and 1903 from Michigan. He worked at a wire company. Basically he said coworkers complained that there was no coat hooks. Parkhouse bent a wire into two shoulder loops and a hook. And just like that, the wire hanger was born.
Dude.
He said he never patented it, but his company did.
Okay.
Parkhouse received no credit or royalties.
Wow.
Another unsung inventor story.
That's crazy.
So, we've now mentioned a couple guys that, or ladies, that literally have been forgotten in history, and we have these inventions that we utilize every single day.
My closet is full of plastic hangers that probably never would have been a thing for that person.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. These people have been forgotten. So, I mean, it's just, and unless you really, kind of take time to go and look at some of this stuff, you'll never find out who they were.
And how interesting, too, to be, what an interesting story as well. To have been there in that moment where someone's like, oh, I'm just go ahead and bend this wire, and it's like,
well, you're not probably thinking. I mean, at that moment, it's more of just a reaction to something. Yeah. It's like, hey, I need to create something real quick, and you're not thinking of long term. I mean, I guarantee in our everyday life, there's been a situation where we've responded to something because of whatever.
Yeah.
That we have no idea that maybe just that idea could be the next great invention.
Yep.
We just,
I think
we don't think about it.
You said earlier in the episode as well, like people finding some sort of need or finding some sort of niche.
Exactly.
And filling that in some way.
Minute to kind of think and go,
how can I fix that? Or how could
I said, that's a pretty damn good idea. I may be on to something here. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think in my own life if there's ever been situations like that, and I'd be curious to hear from the listeners as well if there's anything like that someone has been in a weird niche scenario where they've been able to fix or put something together.
The closest I've ever come to just kind of thinking back over the years at work where I worked. I remember one time there was I'm trying to remember the exact kind of the context, but. It was, in essence, being able to review a document on screen.
All right.
And to make notes. And I'm trying to remember, but it was like no one ever thought about doing this. And when I did it, I remember it kind of went. It kind of.
Oh, yeah.
It spread. It was like, yeah, we didn't even think about this. So
Yeah.
it's kind of when you have these moments in a kind of on a small scale.
Right.
It's like,
how do you
wow,
make your work more streamlined?
more efficient,
more efficient.
or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. Of course, it's hard to really patent that kind of stuff, but it's just when you have that eureka moment,
Yeah.
and so
I've done video editing for years and years, and a lot of times having like a template already made that you can like recall back from, and like something that like it's just like a foundation to work off of,
right.
has been for me something that like I don't think you can really, I don't think it's anything that's like super crazy, but for me
Right.
it's been super nice to just like sit down and like I have a few like templates that I can pull from
Yep.
that like people have looked at, and even Stoney I think has talked about it whenever I was like teaching him some of like the pointers. I was like, this kind of feels tedious and it feels like it's a bit much, but like trust me, in the future like you're gonna love having this to pull from.
Right.
So we get all this stuff organized now, and then later you don't got to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah. So
Here's one that I think everybody has heard of: sliced bread.
oh, everyone knows the phrase.
Exactly.
It's good.
The best thing since sliced bread. That's where it comes from. The guy was Otto Frederick Roeder.
Okay.
Roeder, 1928.
Wow.
United
28.
States. So once again, you're in this period of time where people,
Right.
it's a lot of things are happening right now. So,
I was trying to look up what is the. Wow. Okay, I was looking at what was the ending of World War I, 1918. I was curious about that. That's interesting. Sliced bread. You said it was 23?
28.
28? Oh, wow. Okay.
Here, throw some things out to the ladies, to our listeners.
Okay.
Who invented the bra?
Okay.
They say women in ancient Greece wore a type of breastband called an apostemos or a mastodon. I'm probably destroying the word, which flattened or supported the chest.
Okay.
Roman women also wore something similar called a strophium.
Mm-hmm.
In the Middle Ages to the 1800s, corsets dominated Western fashion for centuries, designed not for comfort but to shape the torso.
Mm-hmm. I feel like anyone who's worn a corset would say the same. Not for comfort. I've heard stories.
Yeah, the modern bra is accredited. It was credited to Mary Phelps Jacob, somebody after my last name. And it basically says AKA Carice Crosby. It was in 1914.
Okay.
Once again, here
14. Okay.
the United States. And the backstory on this is just she was a New York socialite who hated how her corset showed under sheer dresses.
Mm-hmm.
She stitched together 2 handkerchiefs and some ribbon to create a backless brassiere.
Mm-hmm.
It was light, comfortable, and didn't show through her evening gown. She patented her design as the backless brassiere.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. patent number 1,115,674.
Wow.
And sold it to Warner Brothers Corset Company.
What? Warner Brothers had a corset?
Not related to the film studio.
Okay. What does that?
For just $1,500.
Wow.
That company went on to make millions.
Of course. $1,500 though in 19.
Even in that, but still, can you imagine just what she could have left her family?
Oh my gosh.
They said it basically evolved very quickly through the 20th century. Padded bras, underwire, sports bras, invented in 1977 by Lisa Lindahl and Hinda Miller. And now, adaptive bras and everything else.
It's crazy.
And here's another. Who invented the tampon?
Okay.
In ancient Egypt, women used softened papyrus.
Paper. Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds uncomfortable.
In ancient Greece, they wrote about tampons are made of lint wrapped around small pieces of wood.
Okay. Again, still sounds very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Other cultures use wool, grass, or rolled cotton.
Wow.
Often unsafe and uncomfortable.
And probably unsanitary as well.
The modern tampon was credited to a guy by the name of Dr. Earl Haas in 1931 in the United States.
Stop.
It was the first commercially viable tampon with an applicator. And supposedly the backstory in this is Dr. Haas wanted a cleaner, more discreet menstrual product. His design used compressed cotton and a telescoping paper tube for insertion.
Wow.
He patented it in 1931 and sold the concept to businesswoman Gertrude Tendrich, who founded the Tampax brand in 1933.
That's wild.
They said they were slow to be adopted due to taboos around menstruation and the idea that internal products were inappropriate for unmarried women. Marketing in the 30s through the 50s emphasized hygiene, discretion, and modern womanhood, slowly making tampons more acceptable. So. Men are, it's interesting. Men are the ones who patented these designs,
right?
But women are the ones who largely pushed for their adoption. Kind of gave the energy for innovation and
right.
And business success because
especially in the early
I can
1900s.
imagine women at that time would have been a game changer,
right?
Considering how they had to go about dealing with that. So
crazy
with those issues. So. Yeah, it's pretty interesting on some of this stuff. I mean, do you have anything that...
I was curious about who invented denim jeans.
And who was it?
I think it was Levi Strauss of the Levi brand. It was back in 1873 was the
I'm sure he wasn't shooting holes in them at that time, huh?
Was the birth of denim or blue jeans, I guess is what we call them now, but it was actually a denim. And they obtained their U.S. patent, like I said, in May of 1873, which is crazy to think about. And again, Levi, like the brand that we know nowadays, it was the first kind of person that kind of made that happen. It was obviously for like workwear, and it was meant to be more for like a working man kind of blue collar type, I think, apparel that, of course, now has become more of a everyday piece that everyone has. That I feel like is a ubiquitous piece of fashion that everyone has, whether it be for fashion or for function, whatever.
And believe me, I urge our listeners out there, hey, if there's any neat things you would like for us to talk about regarding these things, because it's always interesting to find out who actually did some of these that we utilize, just common stuff. I wonder who invented eyeglasses.
Well, before you move on, can I say some more about this a little bit? It says that one day the wife of a local laborer asked Jacob, which I guess is one of the other people that had created this as well, to make a pair of pants for her husband that wouldn't fall apart. And it said that Jacob tried to think of a way to strengthen his trousers in a way, and then came up with the idea to put metal rivets at certain points of strain, like obviously in the pocket corners and like the button fly and all that kind of stuff like that. And quickly decided to make a patent out of that. And so like it was this kind of thing where like we're talking about before, people come with a need or a problem, and then someone's like, okay, well, let me try and figure out how's the best way to make this pair of trousers not fall apart with this person who's working hard. And of course then that becomes like this new thing. But anyways, as you're saying with the eyeglasses, I'm curious about that.
Well, I'm trying to pull up something here on this, and I'm not getting anything right now. It's
this patent, by the way, was number 139,121 for blue jeans. So it's crazy that.
Yeah, it says right now supposedly they were invented in 1285 to 1290 of the Common Era. It was in Italy. They say likely in Pisa or Venice. An unknown Italian artist or monk
Yeah.
came up with the idea. They say here that some historical accounts suggest a Dominican friar named Alessandro della Spina helped spread the use of eyeglasses after others kept their invention secret.
That's 1200 BCE.
No, of the Common Era.
Oh, okay.
1200, the 1200 AD.
Right, still, that's still.
Yeah. They say Salvino di Armada of Florence is often falsely credited, but there's no credible historical evidence for that claim. They say a sermon delivered in 1306 by Dominican friar Gordiano di Pisa. He mentioned that eyeglasses had been invented not 20 years ago, placing their invention around that 1285 to 1290 date. Probably that's where they're getting that date from.
Right.
So they say early eyeglasses used convex lenses to help people with farsightedness, especially monks and scholars. Can you imagine you poured over over candlelight and you're writing.
It's going to be terrible on your eyes.
It is probably very terrible for your eyes. Right? Everybody had bad eyesight back then.
Yeah. I feel like also to kind of throw it back again, we haven't touched on them at all, but obviously as a person who enjoys planes and likes flying, the Wright brothers.
Yep.
Making airplanes and, of course, being shot down and told that there's no possible way.
Well, some say actually the airplane was actually truly the idea was invented by what's his name?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Da Vinci.
Some flying machines, yeah.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Imagine he, supposedly the idea, I just probably just didn't think he had the
practical, yeah.
You think about how if somehow he would have invented the airplane, how far now we would be advanced with avionics, and if the airplane would have actually been invented in the Middle Ages or in the Renaissance,
crazy,
and then you would have had 500 years of airplane development by the time you get to would be the Wright brothers, in Kitty Hawk. Crazy. I mean, it's just unbelievable what could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably.
I think about the difference too that happened in. We always talk about how technology gets expedited and pushed forward, usually because of war or through war. A lot of times we get new.
Well, that's generally there's usually some stimulus,
right, and I feel like a lot of that story, like a lot of the designs for aircraft happened around the World War I and and forward. So I can only imagine, like you're saying before, imagine now going into the 1900s. With 500 plus years of
I mean that's what I'm saying. Think about of just perfecting flying and just kind of going through that natural progress, just like what they did with Kitty Hawk till now. Yeah, you would have had almost a 500-year head start.
Wow,
on airplane. I mean, you probably could be. I would think virtually you would have airplanes that were easily by the time you get to Kitty Hawk, you would have airplanes that were basically approaching jets. Then
maybe if they had the materials.
I'm sure somebody would have come up because I would think once you kind of break the ice with the concept of flying, and you kind of develop that, then people start thinking, okay, how can we do this and that and everything else? Now,
imagine the Industrial Revolution with planes.
Well, you would have to have combustion engine and stuff like that. That all comes into play.
Right.
So
I just imagined a steam-powered plane is what I was thinking about.
What are the things that we take for granted?
Right.
That we utilize every day?
I mean, I know the car obviously is one that I think about that I feel like I take for granted on a regular basis. I think we talked about this sort of thing when we talked about inventions. I think a while back, but I'll still say it again. Is like sometimes I just the simple fact of like hopping in your car, starting your car, and it runs, and then you can drive to a location and come back safely. Is like the idea that like there is a machine inside there that is like controlling explosions,
right?
Like the lighting of fuel and using that to propel you forward at some rate of speed. It's like once for me at least, I sit down and think about that long enough. I'm like, this is crazy.
Right.
The same sort of thing when you think about computers. Like the fact that there's like chips and things in here that are like allowing me to like type on this computer or record this very podcast is crazy to think about. Once you like, at least for me, once you give it just enough thought where you're like, man, it's really crazy how like this thing functions. I as a musician as well, I play bass guitar, and so like
who created the bass guitar?
I know that, like I think it was around like the 50s or 60s is when like the first time they started doing like guitar pedals and guitar amps and like making electric guitars. So but like again for me, like once you think about the fact of like the pickups, which are like the things on like the kind of the body of the guitar that pick up the sound, which is why it's called a pickup, the fact that like how this whole thing functions is you hit the string vibrates over the pickup, which is like a magnet, and the magnet then transitions that into like signal that you can then like plug into an amplifier or like a sound system. And again, something that is just so simple, like I just plug the guitar in, turn the volume up, and then it works. But like once you sit down for long enough, like there's like magnets and like a whole bunch of like science and technology that kind of makes this whole thing happen. And let's not talk about like guitar pedals, how like I have a distortion or I've got like a little reverb, like a spring reverb that sounds like it's all wonky and crazy. Like the fact that you have all those different computer chips and things that are making all this sound happen it's just like, it's crazy. I love that kind of stuff because it's like you take for granted and you just sit there and think about it for a second.
George Beauchamp has co-invented the first electric guitar.
Okay.
Rickenbacker frying pan in 1931.
Interesting.
Les Paul in the 40s developed solid body electric guitars, namesake of the Gibson Les Paul.
Oh, yeah.
And then Leo Fender in the 50s invented the Fender Telecaster and Stratocaster, iconic models still used today.
I love a good Fender Stratocaster. It's nice, but my favorite is a Telecaster. Hands down. I don't own one for myself, but that's if there is one other guitar I want to add to my collection, which I know I probably don't need it anymore, but I can dream. Is a Fender Telecaster, a little sunburst on it. I would love that. So yeah.
What other things do we have?
I feel like obviously people I think love to hate it. But the cell phone is another big thing. The smartphone. I remember when in like 2000, what was it, like 7 or 8, when like the first iPhone came out.
Oh yeah,
and it changed the game. I feel like it was such a big.
I remember just mobile technology.
Oh right.
I remember when you had the big, it's just funny how you move from an answering service to a pager to a phone, and now you got basically a mini computer in your hand.
I remember when my mom and dad had like one of those old, like just green LED screen cell phones, like one of the first ones they ever had.
Right.
And it was like, it
worked.
It was a brand new thing. And it was like something that was so new and like, oh my gosh, like my dad got a cell phone. I was like, oh, this is cool.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Look at this. We're big time now.
Yeah. Cause we still had a home phone. And that's all we had. And it was just, I look back on that, I was like, man, that was a simpler time. Boy, what I wouldn't give to kind of go back to something like that again.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
something that's like just a phone that you can call on. Not like a home phone, but like a cell phone there's no frills on it.
I can't even imagine life now without this phone. I mean, I just, I lived for, of, my early life. There was none of this stuff. And I remember that. I mean, you just talked on the phone. You were in your home.
Oh yeah.
The idea of talking on the phone when you were out
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. Like why would you do that?
Right.
But it's definitely made us. I think it stressed us out more.
Oh yeah, I think that people, they like to know where everyone is all the time. And I think people forget that, like, once upon a time, you didn't know where anybody was, really. Or like let's say, for instance, like you and I were going to go have coffee together. And, like, you told me, like, hey, let's meet up at the coffee shop for, like 10 o'clock or something. And that was, like, something that we both, like, either would remember or write down in our calendar together. And, like, you would just like trust that we're going to probably meet up together at 10 o'clock at the coffee shop. And people like nowadays will like send out text messages and will like go like to call people and like all that kind of stuff. It's like, you can just don't worry about that. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just, you can just show up and, kind of worry about where people are, or, sometimes I think that there is a benefit to having, like, I understand why certain parents like to know where their children are for certain reasons. But like at the same time, I think there's, I don't know, maybe I'm too naive, but.
What about the microwave oven?
Okay. Wasn't that like in the 50s or 60s or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was in the 40s.
40s, okay.
I mean, I think when
I'm probably thinking of like the commercial. Yeah, what was like the commercial ones that got very popular?
I've always been very curious about the microwave. It basically was an accidental discovery in 1945. Percy Spencer.
Okay.
He was working for the Raytheon Corporation on radar technology during World War II.
Interesting. So part of the 40s.
Yeah, while testing a magnetron, and for people who don't know, that's a vacuum tube that generates microwaves, he noticed something strange. The chocolate bar in his pocket had melted.
Mm-hmm.
Curious, he placed popcorn kernels near the magnetron, and they popped.
Yep.
And next he tried an egg, and it exploded. Yeah, he said these kind
That's
of
the scientific
things.
process right there.
He led him to realize that microwaves could cook food.
Yeah.
By rapidly exciting water molecules inside.
I wonder how unsafe that is. Just like, like hold food.
Well, I remember in the early like don't look at the microwave.
Yeah.
Remember all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know if all that still but they said he filed a patent for the microwave cooking process in 1945. So the first commercial microwave oven was the Radar range was released. It was 6 feet tall.
6 feet.
Weighed 750 pounds.
Oh,
and cost $5,000 at the time, which would be $60,000 today.
That's a brand new, like really nice car.
It was used mostly in restaurants and ships.
Wow.
They say in 1967, Amana, a Raytheon division, released the first affordable countertop microwave for home use. Much smaller, cheaper, and safer.
Wow. What a commitment. 6 foot tall, 700 pounds.
Yeah. That's thing that we use every day.
Yeah. That you can probably buy new at the store for what? Maybe $100?
Maybe
a couple $100.
I've seen them cheaper than that.
Yeah. I just like the idea of a
mass produced now.
Of course.
It's,
I just love the idea of I like the name magnetron. It feels like a futuristic word. I don't know. It just feels like a sci-fi term. Yeah. It's something that's so normal and ubiquitous.
Oh yeah,
that's interesting.
Some interesting stuff, man.
Well, like I said before, if there's I'm curious if anybody wants to share a story of something that they have either invented or have made their lives or other people's lives easier. I'm curious about, what they've got. You can give us comments on Spotify or on YouTube, where you can give us a like, or you can subscribe, on all the platforms you care to listen to us on. We also have an email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com. The website, retrospectpodcast.com. I believe I got it right.
That's usually Stoney's.
I was going to say, Stoney will probably correct me. But
yep.
Anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
And there you have it. A small but mighty glimpse into the world of invention. The paper clips on our desk. The zippers on our jackets. The brushes in our bathrooms. These things may seem ordinary now, but once upon a time, they were radical ideas born from everyday problems. Behind each one is a story of necessity, of curiosity, of brilliance, and sometimes of forgotten names and lost credit. Because history doesn't always reward the first, it rewards the one who finishes, the one who markets, the one who's remembered. But here on this podcast, we believe every inventor deserves their moment in the light. So the next time you use something simple, a pen, a hanger, a safety pin, Take a moment to wonder, who thought of this? And what might they have imagined the world could be? Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jason, and remember, behind every great invention starts with a simple question: what if? God bless everyone.